Magicians have an incredible talent for deceiving the world, and the most famous illusions are indeed the hardest to understand. We all wonder what's going on behind the curtain, which is what makes the tricks really entertaining. So, let's unravel the secrets behind the most famous magic tricks of all time in this video. Let's get started. The revenge number of the assistant. You're probably wondering now what the assistant's revenge means. This is a classic known trick that has been around for many years, and to truly understand the meaning behind the name, let's look at how the movement works first. The revenge of the assistant is a famous passing illusion where two performers swap their places on stage. The inventor of this trick is a famous magician named Robert Houdini. Two performers, namely the magician and his assistant, are about to hit the stage to start the show. The wizard then shows the long frame-like structure, this series of seat belts and tied wrist and neck ties. The assistant stands upright in this large frame structure, secured with straps, chains, and locks. Eventually, straps are attached to the assistant's neck and hands. Also, a curtain is attached at the top of the frame. The listener then starts to draw a circle around the frame, first pulling the front, then the side, and finally the back curtain. Then, buzz disappears behind the frame, and as soon as it disappears, the assistant appears before us. Now, it is not the magician who pulls the curtain, but the assistant. Then, the woman pulls the curtain, opens it, and when she opens it, we see that the person attached to the frame structure is now a magician. It appears that the magician and the assistant magically switch places, so by now, you should know why it's called the assistant's revenge. Because this assistant wants to take revenge for the other tricks where she was put into a box and held captive, and apparently she does. So how do they switch places so quickly? Here is the secret. Some of them are the straps that the magician used to capture it. You must be thinking that all the locks or handcuffs are fake and can be easily opened, but that's not true. All those belts, straps, and locks are real. Then how were they changing their places? The secret lies in that high square frame structure where the girl is tied. The frame actually consists of two parts, front and back. And here you can see that the two pieces are held together with Velcro strips or some other easily separable adhesives. Thus, when the magician pulls the curtain and goes behind the frame, the girl separates the merging points and exits by circulating from behind the frame. Just then, the magician enters the frame, and while his assistant continues to pull the curtain, he enters the frame equipped with easily unlockable locks. In this way, artists create an illusion as if they magically and incredibly quickly change places. Would it cross your mind? High-tech twins magic show. Tony and his twin brother Jordan once performed an incredible magic trick that brought the judges and audience of America's Got Talent to their feet. Their shows were combining the power of magic and technology. That's the trick they did. Tony started the job by moving behind a giant screen he brought on stage, then suddenly appeared on the screen. When he split himself in two on the screen, the audience realized that they were not only watching Tony, but also his twin brother Jordan at the same time. As you have seen on stage, Bodo, Anthony, and Jordan have teamed up to make stunning and amazing interactive shows on screen. Understanding the interactive part of the show is not that difficult, as you might guess. They were playing a video on the big screen, and the twin brothers were not really interacting with the screen or what was happening on it. They had worked out to be sure of exactly what they needed to do on stage before this show. Thus, they were able to create the illusion of the interacting with the screen. We will examine the following numbers separately. Transform the napkins into a rag. After the girl appeared on the screen, Tony and Jordan threw her red napkins that looked like fabric. The red napkins flew on the screen and at that moment turned into a red dress that fit on the girl. How did this happen? Of course, they didn't really throw the napkin, and the real napkins had actually fled into their arms as soon as they left. This was done using a trick tool called a gecko, which pulls the napkin using the elastic bands inside its arms. At the same time, two red cloths appeared on the screen, flew towards the girl and turned into a dress. Basically, everything happened on screen. All Tony and Jordan had to do was let go at the right time to create a visual illusion when the napkin seemed to be flying on the screen. Make the bulb. Tony never actually lit that bulb. We actually only saw his video on the screen that created the illusion like the bulb was lit. You can also see how he got rid of it by throwing it behind the bookshelf from that bulb. Balloon illusion. At one point, Jordan had brought a yellow balloon and gave it to the girl on the screen. If you look closely at the video, you can see that the balloon in his hand popped and the pieces fell to the ground. This explains how he made the balloon disappear by throwing it. At the same time, a balloon of the same color appeared on the screen. It's that simple. The twin girls on stage. If we pause the video, we can see the small cabinet on the right side of the screen where the girls are actually hiding. Before they show up, you can also understand how Jordan camouflaged the girls with a blanket to crawl from behind the cupboard to the middle of the stage. Wow, isn't that clever? Aid the illusion. This is a very interesting trick performed by Ben Hart, who appeared as a magician on Britain Got Talent that you'll watch. Start the number by writing the names of different objects on small pieces of paper by the audience and collecting them in a glass before the number. Then our guy waved his fan into the cup, and the papers in the cup started to fly one by one. Most of the objects he was writing had flown away, but the man had managed to catch a piece of paper on the fan. And then he asked Simon to read the object written on it. Then he took the paper back and put it on the fan. After bouncing this paper up and down several times, the paper magically began to expand and finally turned into an egg. Then he broke the egg and poured its contents into a glass. And so the mouths of the jury and the audience were completely open. So how did he manage to turn a small piece of paper into an egg? Here's the secret. Now this trick consists of two parts. One is the part where he catches that little paper, and the other is when he turns this paper into an egg. Now, if we're going to talk about the first part, the piece of paper that reads egg was already squeezed onto the fan, even before waving it around. In this shot, you can see that the side where the man's fan is stuck is hidden from the judges and the audience. And this situation clarified the first part, where he was trying to catch that piece of paper. What we're going to say is that Simon didn't choose the paper that says egg. On the contrary, this auction was forced on him. No one gets into the part where the paper turns into an egg. There were different explanations after the show. According to some, the egg is actually made from a kind of skin. And there was another group of spectators saying that the paper was actually made from a helium balloon, expanding into an egg shape. Anyway, it's the trick of the job. There was a trick used for this part, and that trick was Ben using a fake egg made from latex. And even if you are curious, you can find this kind of magic in the magic stores around you. This number won't be able to confuse you anymore. After I took that paper from Simon, I had replaced the paper with a fake toy that essentially looked like an egg. And if you let this toy go and then apply pressure on it or hit it, it would automatically revert to an egg shape. So that's exactly how our man had turned the paper into an egg. But wait, the egg you're looking at is not real, it's just a toy that looks like an egg. So at some point, he had to switch the real egg with the fake one using sleight of hand to make this act look perfect, and that's it. Here, sleight of hand that the camera doesn't detect or movements from angle the camera didn't shoot are at play. Of course, we don't see any of these. In the end, our man breaks the egg and surprises everyone around him to finish this impressive trick. He had poured the contents of the egg into the glass.